think the problem there is I really don't think there's a lot of adults that really know how to catch properly, at least from what I've seen. There's some kids I've seen with some like natural talent, but it's like if you take the 4 week challenge, like be a lot better. I'm not like promoting it to anyone, but it's like knowing what I know from doing this, just like anything that you wanted to get better at as a catcher, like it's all there. It's all the fundamentals. My name is Greg Biddle. I live in San Mateo, California, like Bay Area. I lived here my whole life. Played baseball as a kid. I was definitely one of those kids growing up who was like in the backyard tossing the ball up to himself and just like counting out like bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, that type of thing. For me, I kind of volunteered for the job, but I like learning. I found you on YouTube and I'm looking for the basics, right? There's a ton of videos out there, but it's like trying to teach someone something that you know nothing about and you've never done it yourself. It's like, what type of knowledge can you really pass on to someone?
What were some of the challenges that you were running into as the coach?
I never really thought about stances being as important as they are. The fundamentals you talk about from receiving to blocking to throwing, it's all predicated on having good stances, good fundamentals. And I had already thought about this too in the beginning, but if you are playing catcher all game, it's like I try to be in a squat for like 5 minutes. What am I doing here? Things start to ache. I'm getting tired. It's like, how are you supposed to do this all game? And your natural instinct is to be on your toes. And then now the arch of your foot is killing you. Your calves are on fire. It's like, okay, that's kind of how I knew. Like, there's got to be other information out there that I'm just not privy to. But I heard about like the stance challenge. I'm like, okay, I need a little more here. But yeah, I mean, like just things like that. You notice that other coaches don't really know what they're talking about, and then it's like, well, who am I to sit here and try to say that I know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
So that's when it becomes clear in a way. It's like, yeah, I need some help. I need a little direction here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super cool. Tell me a little bit about what the journey was like actually doing the process.
I knew I didn't know much about catching, and I really wanted to go through the process as it was intended. I feel like a lot of the times as an adult, you can write things off in a way, and you're like, all right, I get it. Can I get to the important stuff? I really wanted to take it a step at a time and really appreciate each little bit, just what it was worth, and like why it's important. Even the same thing with the journal. It's like, I totally understand. There are plenty of days where like I have no idea what's right. But part of that is the challenge, especially as an adult, is, well, what did I learn? And what did I do well? And how can I actually get better at this? The whole practice of writing it down and being able to go back and remember what it is that you were thinking about, that's like the real value of having it. And then also just being able to track your progression. So I think I had written that down at one point, being able to look at yourself on video and really notice where you're falling off. I remember that most of all in stances because I remember in the beginning it was very, very difficult to get into certain positions. I remember one knee down, huge problem for me at some point. Eventually I had gotten there, and then going to kickstand was like another one because that's all in your groin, it's in your hamstring, and I've never had good hamstrings anyway. And I still do the mobility like week one. At a bare minimum, I do that every single day and I'll
That's
do the
awesome.
other ones, but it's like my mobility or my ability to stretch and like get farther, it's like miles apart from where I was doing one. But I don't know, that's kind of how I took the process. I really just trusted that you knew what you were talking about.
Hmm.
And it's like, I'm going to take this very slow and appreciate why these things are being taught and why
Hmm.
it's being taught this way.
When you think about now where you are after, what would you say the biggest difference is?
Obviously pitching and catching are like completely different, but it's the same kind of concept there. It's like if you want to pitch, like you have to practice this stuff on your own, especially when you're that young. And it's the same thing with catching. I just think the problem there is I really don't think there's a lot of adults that really know how to catch properly, at least from what I've seen. There's some kids I've seen with some natural talent, but it's like if you take the 4 week challenge, it'll be a lot better. I'm not promoting it to anyone, but knowing what I know from doing this, anything that you wanted to get better at as a catcher, it's all there. It's all the fundamentals. Like blocking for sure. I haven't seen a single kid do that. Not on my team, not on somebody else's team, at least out here. Stances are very lazy in my estimation. There's kids that can catch naturally, right? Receiving, that's probably not a problem. And I'd say the same with throwing. It's like, it's really mechanics a lot and footwork. That's probably the issue. But there's plenty of kids that can just pop up and toss it over and get lucky. That's cool for now, but once you get up into high school, you'd be better off knowing what you know. If you're a kid and you know that you want to catch, take this stuff seriously. There's a point in all of this. I know there's 28 challenges, right? But they're all important. They all build on each other. There's a place that you'll find that you're going to use it no matter what. You'll use everything that you saw, especially if you take it seriously, you'll be better off. I think you had said this to me at some point when we were chatting, but fundamentals professionals do all the time. It doesn't change. Once you figure it out, great, but you still need to continue getting better and better and better. This stuff doesn't just stop. You have to continue to get better in the practice to want it. That's probably the hardest part for me. I'm very competitive, and I'm having to coach kids that aren't as competitive. It's a big challenge, but I'm waiting patiently for my first kid who's like, I want to be catcher. And it's like, I got you. I got you. Whatever you want to do, I got it. Yeah.
That's awesome.